Hello, gorgeous. Here is my comprehensive guide on things to look for when you are dating a masculine man. Specifically, when you are looking for a masculine man and you are dating for marriage in particular, and you're definitely looking to settle down. These are things to keep an eye out for. These are green flags. Stay until the very end because even after I give you all the information, you're probably going to think, okay, now what do I do? The guide on everything. It's not a checklist. Don't date with checklists. That's the worst thing you can do. This is naturally my own philosophy. This is my way of life. Keep these things in the back of your mind always. This is a mindset. This isn't things I have to do as a checklist. Open the door. I'm a gentleman if I open the door for her. Or I'm a gentleman if I stand on the other side of the street. Those are very small details. These are bigger picture things because at the end of the day, when you are dating for marriage, not only do your families unite, what happens is you carry that person's legacy. There is a 90 something year old billionaire who said the most important decision you will make is choosing the right spouse. One of my favorite quotes, a great quote I heard today was, "A weak man teaches you that you can do everything on your own. A strong man knows that you can, but you just don't have to." In essence, if he wanted to, he would. These are the things to look out for in case there is a guy out there who's ready to give full masculine man energy. And also, a lot of the times when people say they have an ick or a turn off by a man, it's because he's not stepping up or showing up how a masculine man should. That's typically what we're attracted to as feminine women. If you don't take anything away from this video, if you forget all the details, I want you to take 1 and 2 to heart and always remember them. Never forget steps 1 and steps 2 because a lot of the things here are going to weave in and out of each other in multiple ways because it's such an intrinsic mindset. It comes very natural to a masculine man. He doesn't have to put on a facade and fake doing all these weird tricks and manipulations. He's just naturally this way. This is himself. First is he had a strong father growing up. I am giving you the cheat codes, the gateway into finding a truly masculine man without the noise, without the distractions, without the difficult obstacles. It's like saying, I'm giving you hard black and white answers today because I don't want you to strip your standards down to think, oh, he kind of had a strong father. No, you can tell right away if a man had a strong father. He will be very disciplined. He will be most likely on his way up to success, whether he's working white collar, blue collar, has his own business. He does very well with other people. It shows up in so many ways because when you have a father, you understand discipline, you understand hierarchy and authority, and you understand that you have to work your way up to get to a certain place. There is a crazy stat. 99.99999% of people in prison, male or female, they did not have a father or did not have a strong father. They had a messed up father or their father abandoned them at certain points and would come back into their life. So having a strong father is so impactful to society. You need both parents because children act differently with each parent. The mother is the one who makes you feel safe. Studies have shown that she is your comfort. When you have a wild world, you come back home to your mother and she says that everything is okay. You need the other side, which is the father, who is more action oriented. He is typically a problem solver, which is why guys always give their logic when women are venting and they just want an ear to listen to them. Men are typically the ones who introduce you to challenges and knock you down a notch and show you that the world is so much bigger than what you are. So you need to work your way up. Eventually, you will get there as long as you put in the time, the effort, the brains. They are the ones who show you adventure. That's why your dad is always the one that you go hunting with, fishing with, hiking, biking to the beach. He's the one that is doing the wild things that help you see the world. Not every dad is perfect. I'm not saying that men who grow up without a father or without a strong father, they end up in a horrible place. Sometimes they end up okay. The majority that are successful in different aspects of life, in a well-rounded life, typically have both parents. A loving home of both the parents is more of a guarantee than it is to date a guy who did not have a strong father. There are rare occasions that I have seen empirically, I see in the media who have wonderful mothers that raise boys on their own. My grandma was one of who figured things out without the help or despite the fact she raised kids on her own. The mother suffers and the children see this, so they feel her pain, which is an unnecessary stress. I'm not saying that they don't turn out okay. I'm saying that you're more likely guaranteed a healthier, easier relationship when you date someone who had both parents, and especially a strong father. They will understand discipline. For example, have you ever gone into public and you see someone who doesn't act right? They are completely acting inappropriate. Someone in a parking lot or in a Walmart who's just screaming their head off, and they're a full grown adult. They cannot function properly. And I'm not saying that they have mental illness. I'm saying that they just don't know how to act in public. They'll talk down to wait staff, or they will talk down to policemen and say, I pay taxes, you work for me. Police also pay taxes. When they get out of their uniform, they're still people, they're still humans. So people who don't respect authority or understand discipline, they usually did not have a strong father who knocked them down in line. In other words, they didn't get screamed at enough as a kid by their dad specifically. Discipline doesn't necessarily just mean hitting your kids or screaming at them. It means showing them they do not have the last word. When a kid is arguing with their dad, being disrespectful, and says, why am I not allowed to do certain things? And they say, because I'm your father and I said so. That is a legitimate justification that that child shouldn't do something, because the parent obviously knows better in a healthy scenario. I feel like I have so many disclaimers and caveats, but the people who get me will get me. Fight me in the comments below if you disagree. I have very strong perspectives on this because I have seen it left and right. People who did not have a strong father are complete train wrecks. They're addicted to substances. Their life is completely upside down. They don't talk to their mother very well. Their view of relationships is skewed entirely because they did not have someone to show them how powerful it is to carry the heritage of keeping those relationships, those familial ties, those friendly ties, seeing how to treat people well out in public, complete strangers. Number one, having a strong father will be a very powerful tell if someone will be a good partner. This actually goes for both sides, and a majority of these things really do, because you need that balance. And there is a thin line of having a father who's too strong, but I'd rather have a father who's just a little bit stronger than he needs to be to show you that the world is rough, because the world is less forgiving, less merciful than your family will be. But when someone disciplines you, who absolutely wants the best for you, who loves you, they will do it in their home to make sure that you don't make mistakes in public. Because if you don't discipline your kids, the world will discipline them for you, and they will get in lots of trouble. So you want a guy who understands authority, understands the integrity of doing the right thing when nobody's looking. A man who's disciplined is formidable. He is dangerous, but he is good to you. I'll get into more of that in a bit. So, number two, he puts family first. This is in every sense he shows up. And this will also come back to had a strong father growing up, because when a man sees his mother stressing out, he was the only boy growing up, so he became the man of the house. He gets this weird relationship with his mother where she sees him as a son that she loves, but also as a protector because he's a man. If you're getting married to him and all of a sudden you feel her encroaching on your territory where she's starting to plan the wedding like it's hers, and then he never stands up for you, he just agrees with whatever his mom says, that is not a good balance of a relationship. When you have a strong father, that also keeps the mother from overstepping because she has him to contend with in a beautiful, healthy way, as a marriage usually is. Something else about strong fathers people might overlook is the fact that when a man has an up close and personal example of what it means to show up for your family and to carry a lot of literally all the responsibility in the house, at the end of the day, usually it's the man that decides what the family will do. Say, for example, mom is making dinner. She's going to make what dad wants to eat usually. She's not going to go out of her way to cook different meals for every single child unless they have dietary restrictions or they have a medical condition. A majority of the time, the father has the last say when it comes to the family's structure and dynamic. Also, mom acts differently when there is a strong masculine man around. The first part is he had a strong father growing up. The second is he puts family first in every sense. When you are a man who sees that family is very important because you had two strong parents and they instill family first with you, that is going to bleed into his family life when he has children one day, when he sees his strong father letting his mother be feminine and loving her, he's going to understand that's a good, healthy relationship. That's all I know. That's what I'm going to perpetuate into my relationships, whether it's with my sweetheart for the rest of my life or with my children. Then he carries all the good traits onto his kids. He carries those good traits on to his legacy. You want someone who cares about his family, who looks out for his family meaning the people who he grew up with that are constantly showing up in his life. These are healthy relationships. He always checks in with his family, with his dad, his mom, his sisters, or if he's an only child, he keeps up with his childhood friends and his cousins. This person prioritizes those birthdays, getting together with the ones he loves because his sister graduated, getting married, or having a child. When he's at work and he gets a call from his family, he has to cut the work day short and show up to his sister giving birth at the hospital because he needs to be there. He's family, he's blood. Also, he knows that he needs to take a day off work because you have surgery, because you are his family and you're going to take care of him. He's going to carry you home. He's going to carry you to the car. He's going to make sure that he has all your paperwork. He's going to put his life aside to take care of his family. Whether it's celebrations that are small, like you got a promotion, or big ones like his kid's first birthday, a baby shower, all sorts of big and small celebrations. He knows that there are days that he needs to show up and be a strong masculine man. Say, for example, you have a gyno appointment and you're in the second trimester. He's going to show up late to work because your appointment is first thing in the morning, and you guys are his family. You are the priority. Someone who puts family first rather than friends, rather than substances, rather than hobbies, rather than stupid things. The person that shows up in these scenarios is the one that you want for the rest of your life. The next is he has strong priorities. He is chalant about certain things. I have a friend who has been married to her wonderful husband for a few years now, and they bicker about absolutely everything. I'm not talking arguing. An argument is when you have a point and then sentiments to back it up, whether it's empirical, whether it's logical, whether it be ethical. Bickering is more like, no, you did this, no, you did this. It's a very quick back and forth of, why is this blue? Because I like the color blue. Why didn't you get something that's cheaper? Well, I wanted to get something that I liked and is high quality. That's bickering. She and her husband bicker, and I've seen a lot of very successful couples bicker about the dumbest things. And you're getting a little stressed out, feeling the tension in the room. It might be just mildly uncomfortable, not a big deal, but you're watching them and it makes you laugh because it's such minuscule things that they're bickering about. But when it comes to real life serious emergencies, they show up, they don't argue, they work together, they're very solution oriented. When he has strong priorities and can set aside ridiculous things to focus on what's important, that is a man. He shows up for you with action, which brings me to the next. Action over words. He shows up with action. He might not talk about all his plans all the time. He will open up with you and share things. You are his soft place to land, so most likely he can feel like he doesn't have to have a guard up. And scientifically speaking, usually the timeline is 2 years when someone can't hold up a facade anymore and they just become truly themselves, no filter. They become themselves in a relationship wholeheartedly. And 2 years is the time to really see who that person is. They don't have what I call the representative. The person that you meet on the first date is the representative. There are a few different kinds of people you will meet when you date. There's the person who overstates and underdelivers, who promises you all these things and you're happy, but all they do is talk, 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 talk. Then there's the opposite, the person who never talks and acts way too hard. They'll just show up one day with a really nice gesture, them bailing you out of jail. I don't know, I'm thinking of an extreme example, but someone who really delivers on your birthday. They'll remember that one small thing you said 5 months ago, that you said you always wanted to do this, you always wanted to try this. And then they're also the same in a breakup, where they won't even say anything, they'll just ghost you and you feel abandoned because they're more about that action, that silent life. But the perfect masculine man is somewhere in the middle. How do I know? Because the definition of healthy people are usually just balanced people. They have ups and downs, but that sweet middle is where you want to be. A lot of people say, no, that's average. No, that's mediocre. No, that's it. No, they're excellent in a lot of things. Sometimes when it comes to people's feelings, you want to be in the middle, because too many positive interactions, they say every 11 positive interactions with a ratio to 1 negative, those relationships have been studied not to work. According to clinical psychology, they say that the magic number is for every 5 interactions, there's 1 negative one. Because if things are too sweet, things don't work. If things are too bitter, things don't work. So you have to find a happy balance in the middle. Someone who's about the action but communicates, someone who understands there has been enough communication, or they've tried to facilitate communication to get enough information that they need, so then they can act on it. For example, I had surgery, I healed very fast, I healed very well. Also, because I had someone showing up for me. My sweetheart sacrificed a whole entire month just to make sure that I was okay. He was working, obviously, but he would always check on me. He would carry me in case I needed anything. When I needed something around the house and it was late at night and I just couldn't get up out of the bed because it was so painful to sit, stand, to move, to do anything because it was a back surgery, he didn't even hesitate and just did the thing. So, action, he has shown up so many times for me like this, where I recognize it immediately. He gets a free pass in a lot of life. He might not be exactly the way I thought a perfect gentleman would be. Say, for example, he doesn't always find the best parking, but that's such a small fixable thing, where the big important thing is when he shows up with his actions that matter. When I really need him, he's there. He will drive an hour across town just to see me for 30 minutes, or to make sure that I show up to an appointment on time, that he can hold my hand through the appointment and I'm okay. He's not a simp. He's not bending over backwards to make sure that I'm happy. He just knows that there are certain parts of life, certain aspects where it's going to be really difficult. And he knows that people are the best support, especially the closest relationship you have, is going to mitigate anything. And they want to sit and celebrate with you. When you're sad, they're sad with you. And someone who understands that and communicates that through action is very, very special. That takes time also. Sometimes in the very beginning of dates, someone can love bomb you and you can confuse the action. If you have a date, they really want to stay with you. There are 4 different locations you guys are going to that night because your friends are saying, oh, let's go hop to this place next. Let's go to this place next. Let's go to this place. And they stay there through that entire time just to see you, even if they're not drinking. That is someone showing up through action, especially in the early stages of dating. Because the second location or the next location, they could immediately dip and say, I have things to do tomorrow, I gotta go. But instead, they choose to have fun with you and your friends because it's a good time and they don't care as long as they're with your energy. They want to feel you around them. Next is he consciously sacrifices. I don't like to say that a man is a provider. I think that that's a given because both parties in a relationship give endlessly. In divorce court, you will see this. If the man makes all the money, the woman definitely offers a lot. In a relationship, you can call it free labor in regards to her making sure, even if she's not cleaning the house, she's the one who organizes all the administration, make sure the bills are paid online, and make sure all these things are done. Has a property manager or a house manager that she's in charge of, and this needs to be done, this needs to be organized. The woman does a lot of, you can call it unpaid labor, you can call it taking care of the kids, you can call it taking care of the house and the home economics of making your home wonderful, efficient, effective, and just an enjoyment. What she offers emotionally is usually leveraged in divorce court, which is very interesting. I'll have a whole video of a divorce lawyer explaining the nuances of that. When I say a provider, there are so many different types of provider as well. A provider doesn't just mean that they take care of all the bills. A provider provides attention, effort, energy. They provide quality time to spend with you. That is not to be overlooked. This person consciously sacrifices, and sacrifice looks different to everyone. A lot of these traits will look different to everyone. Just because someone's a provider doesn't mean that he's going to provide you a yacht. It means that he'll provide you everything that you need so that you are okay mentally, physically, spiritually. There could be a guy who buys you a designer $7,000 bag every week, but you don't feel fulfilled because you only see him once a week. You don't really have an emotional connection. It's nice to get these bags, and you go on one date and you feel like $1,000,000, but then after he's gone, you don't really remember the spark. Being with someone, spending that time together, that is also in the category of providing, because it's not just cash. I feel like it's not just that your needs are met. I feel like that's very bare bones. We're not talking about baseline standards, we're talking about above and beyond important, high priority gentleman things, because a gentleman is always a gentleman even when nobody is looking. He doesn't suddenly change his mood and think, oh, I don't like the way she's treating me. No, he's going to stay a gentleman no matter what, because that's what a gentleman is. That's the whole point. A person who consciously sacrifices, I can easily tell you that a guy sacrifices and works extra shifts, saves for months and months and months. I've seen a lot of this up close and personal, whether it was me, whether it was my friend proposing to his girlfriend. He was talking about it for months. Proposed to her, was perfect, picked it out with her mother. It could be saving for a ring. It could be for trade school or a certain certification, or going back and getting his master's degree so that he can move higher up, so that he could buy an even nicer ring for the anniversary, or a nicer house, or do something nice for the renovations for the baby room. A man who sacrifices, who's ambitious, will get you very far in life. I never say marry a rich man, because anybody can become rich. Some people are born with riches, and that's perfectly okay. I like to say marry an ambitious man, because someone who wants to fix their situation, that is a sign of self-awareness. Say things aren't perfect, they have a dent in their car and they have to sacrifice the money for certifications so that he could get paid even more, so that he will never have dents in his car again and will always have his car fixed. But he's driving around town with a dent in his car so that he doesn't have to get a loaner, spend more money on a rental car. I had a situation where I had to get schlepped to work way earlier because I didn't have a car yet. He would sacrifice and wake up hours earlier just to make sure that I got to work on time. Someone who is ambitious will find a way to get from A to B, where if they lose it all, they can get it all over again because they know they've done it before. Someone who is resourceful this way, I think being ambitious is more important than being rich. Someone who can be creative, generating a solution for something where you feel like you're trapped, is the ultimate savior for any situation. Next is he knows when to shut up and when to give you space. There are people I have experienced who either give you too much space or they give you none at all. And the worst type is the kind that doesn't give you any space at all, who keeps running their mouth. Gentlemen can read the room. Masculine men understand when their energy is not wanted. They understand when to leave people wanting more. This is just a cherry on top. When someone is self-aware enough to understand that you need space, or that both of you need to take time to think, that's perfectly okay. You want someone who's healthy like this, who doesn't immediately give you everything and say yes to absolutely everything you say. You want someone with a brain, which brings me to my next tip. You want someone who knows who he is. He knows his limits, he knows his standards, his boundaries, and he has his own taste. I was with someone very briefly, thank goodness, who anytime I said something, it was like they were trying to please me, which was the worst, and it made me want to so it was the biggest ick I've ever experienced. I have never been more turned off, shriveled like a raisin of a boy, I should say. I would say anything about anything. I would say, do you like matcha? And they would say, do you like matcha? What do you think about matcha? They would always ask me first instead of having their own actual opinion, which freaked me out. It was the scariest thing, which I was right to be red flagged about because that person was a nightmare. Glad I'm out of there. But someone who understands his own boundaries and his limits means that if he has his own, then he can respect yours as well. When he gets around to them, because everybody pushes their limits, he can be sensitive to those and figure out if he can deal with those or not. That's very basic in dating, I feel like, if you guys don't fully align. Or if you love someone truly, you can overlook these things. You love them so much because you guys have the kind of love that is larger than the both of you, and that's genuine. But that takes a lot of time. That's when you're in the midst of dating someone or getting to know them. Those are two very different ideas. Next is he regulates his emotions. In front of anyone, he cries on the inside. He doesn't have panic attacks out in the open unless something really terrible absolutely happens, but he keeps his emotions in check, doesn't show all of his feelings right away because it is self-preservation for men and also for women. But most of all, he shares his feelings, his true unfiltered feelings, with a select group of people. He can just be himself 100% if he has his guy friends or a brother, a male circle that he can just truly be himself, where he can burp and fart and curse and make boy jokes. Men need that time. Same with women. You need girls' time. You need time to yap, to live soft life because life is too short, life is too difficult. You need people to do these things with, and that man will understand that because he is a masculine man. He's in touch with himself, but with a select group of people, and doesn't give away all of his feelings to random strangers because that's the absolute worst. You don't want a guy who talks about his feelings all day long. I have experienced those, and those people are bores. They're very boring. If I want to hang out with my girlfriends, I will do that. I don't need a guy to do that for me. A lot of people might say that it's misogynistic. No, 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 no. Men and women think differently. We're both humans. We're both the same in the sense that we both have needs. We are very different intrinsically. Next is he knows when to be silly and inappropriate with you and with anyone, but mostly with you. He knows how to let his guard down because there are a lot of people who are very disrespectful. I will use this adjective for this particular scenario because people who aren't manly men will talk at you. So for example, I have a girlfriend who is very, very smart. She's very bright. She comes from a very successful family. And this guy was kind of talking at her. He came from a working class background. He got a little taste of the glitterati life. All of a sudden had an inflated head. He would text her 7-inch texts. What man texts a 7-inch text? Just call me at that point. Just call or leave a voicemail. Say, hey, can you call me back? I gotta talk to you about something. Might as well send a work email. This is horrible. Don't ever do that. Just call or FaceTime with your friends, with your loved ones. If you think they're worth reading, sitting there and parsing your 7-inch text, that's a whole other problem. This is what happens when men don't regulate their emotions. They don't control their feelings in front of people who don't necessarily need to know them. When they're with you, they let their guard down and they don't have to explain things to you. They can just be themselves and live in front of you, live with you. Not necessarily meaning in the same habitat, but what I mean is they can live side by side with you. They can exist in your presence naturally without putting on a facade, without pretense, just being themselves. That guy ended up sending the 7-inch text and he was talking at my girlfriend saying, I have dreams that are bigger than the both of us. Well, welcome to LA. So does everyone else. And I'm from here and I'm saying that. He's the new one. He's the weirdo. He has not even seen dreams bigger than hers. And she has lived quite the life with the success of her family and her, which is so bizarre to me. When a man can't see what he has in front of him, she is a gift. I knew this guy who was telling me about etiquette. He said, in etiquette, when you want to be elegant, you have to do this and this and this. First off, he got all the information wrong. Second, he did not recognize someone who truly knew etiquette. It is not about wearing expensive shoes and greeting someone a certain way. That should already be natural. That should be something that you already do. Instead of talking at someone, he was talking at me. That's what I'm saying. He doesn't just be himself. He's explaining, he's mansplaining. I never use that, but this actually fits this time. He was explaining me to things that I knew in depth, and I'm literally certified under Royal Charter of His Majesty. It made me really uncomfortable. A man who recognizes who you are and your value right away, they don't talk at you. They treat you like a human being. They know themselves that they also have value, that you also have feelings, that you're a person, and you don't need to necessarily be taught. They think you're very special. As a matter of fact, they think everyone is special. They think you're unique, you're important. What you have to offer is something that needs to be heard and to be understood. That's why they take the time to get to know you. A masculine man knows when it's appropriate to let his guard down and just be himself with you. Even when they're tired, they will put on a smile for you. They understand love. At the end of the day, a lot of etiquette is just about love. That's such a broad word for me. The stronger word is acceptance. They've accepted who you are. Even if they don't fully understand it, they appreciate it. That's what I think love is it might not be a perfect understanding, but you're like, hey, I'm along for this ride. Let's enjoy it together. That's huge green flag. They're there to genuinely get to know you. They're enjoying the moment, enjoying his company. Next is attention to detail. Remember how I said I mentioned something from a few months ago and my boyfriend remembered? Things like this. I feel like that's very simple. The final thing, which is a bonus thing, is he plans things because he can. He might not plan things perfectly where he gets the reservation right and he might forget that there's rush hour traffic, but he remembered, put the effort, and you're appreciative. It might not be perfect, but he has the right sentiment. That prevailing sentiment is what you should remember. If you know that he's putting in effort into this relationship and you can feel his energy, it's not perfect exactly how you wanted your night to go. Nothing is perfect, so who cares? Throw that out the window. Just enjoy the fact that he really, really tried and did a really wonderful effort. Do your best to be happy about everything and enjoy and appreciate everything that he's offering, because if it's consistent that he keeps messing up, that's one thing. But if he genuinely made a mistake and thought, oh my goodness, I forgot that this was going on and things get mixed up, life happens, he will remember to make it up to you. Planning and taking time out of his day to make sure that you're included in something special that means something to him or something to you only, and he's going out of his way, showing you that he cares because you care. It's like when your friends say, I really like Labubus, and you're not that into Labubus, but your friend gets you a Labubu and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so coveted. She thought of me. The fact that she even got her hands on an extra one just for me and it's a real one, I feel so special right now. Like, I love Labubus now. It might not be the same level as her, but this Labubu will forever be in my heart. Masculine men genuinely find fulfillment in all of these things. You should value these things.
Visitez le site web stylebygia.com et inscrivez-vous pour recevoir gratuitement des idées de tenues vestimentaires chaque semaine et des guides de soins personnels. Suivez-la sur son compte Instagram, La Gia Garcia, pour des nouveautés quotidiennes et lisez son blog lagiagarcia.com pour une exploration profonde. Merci.